Hi, I'm Tracy Zboril.
And I'm Cara Hewett.
And today, last week we talked to you, last newsletter, we talked to you about how we are out to disrupt the future of psychotherapy.
So what does that mean, really? And we get asked that all the time because we really mean it. And what do we mean by that? Well, one of the things that's really gotten under our skin as therapists through the years is the whole diagnosing thing.
Yeah, so, back when I first started in my private practice, that's when managed care really just started coming into its own, and it was a way of regulating the field. And in order to get insurance payments, there had to be a diagnosis, almost like it used to be in the, and it's like they were taking over like what you do in medicine. In medicine, you had to have a diagnosis, and then insurance would help with the treatment. And that's what was happening with us. And so we had to start diagnosing. But it's not like, I drew your blood and it came back positive for depression. I mean, It was subjective.
It's subjective because it's based on which clinician is doing the diagnosing. And it has to do with observations and different clinicians seeing the same individual and coming up with different diagnoses. That's what I observed in my setting.
Right.
So there are some issues with diagnosing. DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual for people in our field, there's been so many different changes to it as well. And there's a lot of controversy that's associated with all of those different diagnoses.
I mean, it's interesting because some people maybe find a little bit of relief when they're diagnosed with something that just helps explain their behavior, and it helps them understand themselves a little bit more. So, for like true mental illness, chemical imbalances,
that's a different
it actually can be helpful.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I found myself, I just felt like, okay, once again, look at this wonderful person I just met, and I got to label them.
Yeah.
And people are so much more nuanced than that, than to fall under a label. I'm against labels, across the board, quite frankly. And this was a big piece of what was bothering me, why I got frustrated with the practice.
So what does this mean for those of you that are watching this, that you've had this label? And oftentimes in my practice, I would see people that would come in and say, well, I am this, and therefore I act this way. It almost gives them an excuse for some of their behavior.
Yeah.
And it almost gives them the sense of hopelessness. Where do I turn next? Because I have this label. And I think the whole point of us talking to you about this is, and it doesn't apply to everyone, of course, but there are some cautionary signs to labeling someone, because they can wear them the rest of their lives and use them for an excuse.
Right. And most therapists out there, we're all about empowering people to just become the best version they can be. So if they're walking around just saying, well, I'd like to be a happier person, but you know what? I have a depressive disorder, NOS 3.295.
Yeah. And then they wear that, like on their forehead. So we're saying there are other ways to look at the individual other than giving them a label.
And interestingly enough, we are all so alike in why we do the things we do. It all has to do with the way we were programmed, and our programs have to do with the way whatever we experienced growing up. And so our programs are unique, but our actions are all similar. So we're now just treating people kind of more. It's almost very similar across the board, as opposed to, well, if you're this diagnosis, we're going to treat you this way. Or if you're this diagnosis, we're going to treat you this way. We're kind of just treating the human.
That's right. And we all are doing our best in the world. So if this interests you, and we've got a whole section in our book about diagnosis in the Soul Happy book, and we've got a ton of other information out there. And
check it out at soulhappy, SOUL happy.com.